it's Froggy, and I'm back again with another episode of C14 Dating, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start. Should we wait and see if he does anything? Throw in the final joke anyway. No, he said he seems like he needs to say something, so we're gonna wait for him. I tilted my head, hoping my smile would encourage him to speak up. After a moment, he shyly muttered, Melissa, what about these fossilized feathers? What species is this? Cave bear, of course! Didn't you know? They were capable of flight. And that's why you find them everywhere. We shared a final chuckle since the joke had gotten old by then, and returned to our tasks. A small gasp caught my attention, and I glanced up to see flakes from a cracked canine tooth fall onto the paper towel. Shoji looked horrified, then hastily placed the toothbrush down and examined the damage. It was a canine that belonged to a, what else, cave bear, with a giant fracture that ran from part of the tooth to the end of the root. It was drenched in water with some smears of dirt still left on it. Yikes, the condition's bad. It didn't appear that fragile when I washed it. He picked up the enamel pieces and sighed. Did I mess up somewhere? No clue. Did you brush too forcefully? How long was it submerged in the water? Oh, what was it that Hendrik had said? Submerged in the water, maybe? We'll try that. How long did you wash it for? Just a few minutes. I sort of swirled it around in the water for a bit. Ah, now I see. I think you used too much water. It's saturated and causing the tooth to flake, since there's a big crack in it and everything. Maybe let it dry more before cleaning it. You have to be super careful with it now, though, because of the excess water. I had no idea. I think Hendrik went over it, but... It's a lot to take in. He nodded in agreement. Thanks for that. I'll keep it in mind from now on. No problem. This is stuff I need to memorize anyway. I'm still learning, but I'll be happy to help if you have any questions. I'd appreciate it. The excavation team is always busy, and I feel like I'm bothering them, and Professor Dupont scares me. He's friendly, but he can get pretty intimidating when it comes to structure and doing things right. I hope I don't screw up too majorly here. A few days ago, one of the students mixed up her buckets. Dupont's lecture echoed throughout the whole cave for 20 minutes. It was really nerve-wracking. I felt bad for her. Whoa, I must have had my earbuds in since I didn't hear any of that. I guess ignorance is bliss. Let's pray for a smooth dig where we won't discover any Neanderthal tooth in our wet screen. At least I don't have to worry about that. Success in volunteering. Wait, seriously? How did I end up here? I skidded to a halt to get a better idea of my location. My morning jog had been extended way longer than I intended. Oh, I'll try this off-road, I said. I won't get lost, I said. The hoodie around my waist had gotten loose and I retied the sleeves while I walked briskly along the street. I was definitely high up. Beside me was a steep slope, and I knew the cave was located somewhere below. It's already past 8. I should have found my way back like 20 minutes ago. I sauntered close to the slope and peered down, wondering if I could find a shortcut. No way. That's the cave down there. It was unmistakable. There was a protruding shed half hidden in the rock, and I could see the worn path. I did not see any trail that descended down, not without weaving through the bushes and trees anyway. If I backtracked, I would be horribly late. What to do? Just go for it, there's no other option than to hurl yourself down the slope. Since when have you ever acted rationally? You're not starting now. Just go for it. I really didn't have a choice in the matter, did I? I took one precise step to secure my footing before launching myself, then half slipped, half ran down the slope. Narrowly dodging trees, I stumbled and ended up bursting through a thicket of bushes. Do all these bushes have thorns? What is this? I shielded my face as I ducked under the lowest branches. As the walkway came into view, I grabbed a tree trunk to stop my momentum, huffing and puffing heavily from my detour. I emerged emerged from the forest in less than stellar state, all scratched with leaves and stuck to me everywhere. A few curious students glanced up in surprise. When Hendrik noticed their movements, he followed their gaze and gave me a bewildered look.
What happened to you?
I took a wrong turn during my jog. I'm still intact, though. I let out a nervous giggle as I hastily brushed off the leaves and plopped down in an empty chair, wanting to drown myself in the work immediately. She tapped her head repeatedly, and I combed my fingers through my hair in response, trying to fix my dishevelment. After a few moments, Joan delicately reached over and plucked a leaf from my hair. Oh, merci. We exchanged an amused smile, and we silently returned to our tasks. Although we were in the shade, I started to feel unusually warm as time went on. I squinted as I struggled to jot down the information on the bone. I wiped my forehead, then paused, surprised by how much sweat had accumulated. It can't be because of the jog. That was hours ago. The pen grazed against the bone and made an illegible squiggle. Then my hands involuntarily jerked. The trembling didn't stop, and I placed the item down as dread settled in. Crap. I shoved my hands into my pockets, searching for the hard candies that I had on me whenever my blood sugar was low. I froze when I realized they were empty, and I frantically patted myself down. I always carried emergency rations on me. How could... Oh no. They must have fallen out of my pocket when I slid down the slope. I shot up, nearly knocking the chair over in my haste. Joan flinched, then put a hand to her mouth when she saw my state. Te sens tu malade? Sick? Yeah, not feeling well. I need sugar. Confused chatter rose from the table, and Hendrik announced something to calm the students down. However, I was not in the mood to address them and strained to recall where I could get something sweet and fast. Wait, the fridge. With semi-shaky legs, I started walking over to the outdoor kitchen, feeling lightheaded. Something warm brushed against my arm, and Joan gently touched my shoulder. You okay? I help? Can you grab me some apple juice? Pomme jus? Jus de pomme? Despite my struggles, Joan understood my request and made a beeline for the kitchen. I decided it was better for me to sit on the bench before the symptoms worsened. I heard DeAndre and Kyler snapping at each other behind the counter. The words were in French, but even I could tell it wasn't friendly banter. Their constant shuffling blocked the path to the fridge, and Joan surveyed the situation. With clenched fists, she impatiently marched over. Bouge de là! Melissa est malade.
Oui, madame.
DeAndre and Kyler exchanged shocked glances, but shuffled aside to allow Joan through. In her hurry, she fumbled when she grabbed the cup, but regained her movements. After pouring the apple juice, she briskly walked toward me while doing her best to hold the cup steady. DeAndre tried to rush over, but Kyler barked out something harsh. DeAndre resentfully retreated a few steps. Joan sat next to me, making sure my fingers grasped the cup firmly. The rim quivered against my lips, but I was able to take a gulp. The tangy sweetness of the apple juice filled my mouth. Amidst all this, I could hear Joan talking to Kyler and DeAndre in French, presumably explaining the situation. No one barraged me with questions. As my condition improved, Joan let out a sigh of relief and inched a little further away to give me some room. I licked my lips, then wiped my mouth with an arm as I mumbled behind my knuckles. Merci beaucoup. My amount of gratitude could not be expressed in just 2 words, but I hoped they could sense the heartfelt emotion behind them. You better? Much better. I admit it's been a while since I've had an episode like this.
What was that exactly? You looked as if you were going to pass out right then and there. Don't pester her with questions. She's still recovering. The hell, man? Who died and made you boss?
Joan waved an arm to get their attention. Calmez-vous. The tension dissolved, and the 3 looked at me inquisitively. I cradled the cup in my lap as I formulated an answer. I'm okay now, honest. crack a joke, ask Joan to stay, request for some alone time, retire to the indoor lab, retreat to the tent. No, we'll ask Joan to stay with us. Is it okay if you stay a little longer, Joan? DeAndre and Kyler have cooking duty, and I don't want to be alone. I patted the seat next to me, and Joan gave a little nod.
Sounds good. Take it easy, Mel.
After the others dispersed, I realized I needed something, but I wasn't sure how to relay it to Joan. Maybe it was better if I walked to the tent myself. However, Joan's concerned reaction caused me to halt, and I settled back into my seat. Joan, there's something that I have to do, and it's important.
Yes?
Defeated, I pulled out my phone and typed my request in a French translator. I lifted the screen in front of her.
Be back.
She broke into a brisk walk, half jog, and I used the time to read the translation. Mon sac. That's simple? I should make more of an effort. At least in a non-crucial situation, anyway. Joan returned and handed me my bag. I flashed a grateful smile. Merci. I swung my legs around the bench and pulled out my supplies, careful of the cup next to me. It wasn't until I wiped my fingers with an alcoholic swab that I noticed Joan had paid attention to every movement. I glanced at her curiously. You want to watch? I lifted up my lancing device, and her eyes widened. You don't have to. A lot of people don't like seeing blood. I turned my face, covering my eyes to demonstrate, but Joan shook her head. Can I? Sure. Wow, I was oddly touched. It made me happy when people were comfortable with my routine. Of course, it wasn't the same as dancing in front of an audience. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos from me, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.